and welcome back to Paper People. My name is Amy Williams, and if you consider yourself a paper person, you're in the right place. We are Paper People PM tonight. I am getting this intro in under the wire. Things have been crazy. So forgive the lighting, forgive the whatever vibe I'm bringing to the function. It's a vibe for sure. Today's episode is a great one. What can I say? They're all bangers. Today we have Erin Fairchild from Journal as Alter joining us. It's a real delight to get to know her better, and we really just hit the ground running. You know, I keep notes during the episodes. It helps me kind of remember my questions that I want to ask that come up while the guests are talking. It also helps me remember what visuals I want to ask for. And you should have seen my notes with Erin. I was scribbling because she was saying so many wise things that I could not get them down fast enough. You'll see. She's just a joy. But one of the things that she says early on, she talks about how she has been journaling for a very long time. And she mentions that when she goes back and reviews her past journals, she wishes that she would have kept a better snapshot of herself in that moment, who she was in that moment. You know, not necessarily how she was feeling, but what was she wearing and what was she eating and what was in her pockets. And I've been thinking about that so much. When I go back and I read through my high school diaries, my college diaries, it is so much of the feelings. It is so much of, he did this to me and I feel like this and I'm so sad. You know, I mean, it is drama down. I do miss seeing me more. I mean, I've talked about this a lot. I wish I would have started a YouTube channel sooner. I wish I would have started journaling sooner. I wish that I hadn't deleted photos of me that I thought I looked bad in, because when it gets down to it, I don't remember a lot of my 20s, and it would be cool if I had these snapshots of myself back then, just to feel more connected to her as I get further away from her. So Erin has inspired me to not just do the selfies in my journal, right? There are plenty of selfies, and they certainly serve a purpose in this space of who am I in this current moment. She's really inspired me to do the thing of what's in my bag? What's my hair doing right now? Maybe I don't want to remember that, but what clothes I feel best in, what am I buying that's bringing me joy, stuff like that. What's a clearer picture of me that future me can look back on and think oh yeah, I remember that version of me. So I sat down today and I wrote who I am in this current moment. I wrote a couple pages, and I thought I would share, if you will indulge me this late hour of this day. And I'm going to be honest, I wrote this morning. I can't recall a single thing. So here we go. Who I am in this current moment. I'm still mainly in workout clothes, though I'm really enjoying Nuuly despite never wearing the clothes well enough because I'm being too precious about them. I am carrying my green bagoo despite wanting to use my other bag, but needing all of the space for my head medication. I have eczema. I didn't think this would be weird, but I guess it is. Despite needing to carry my head medication and my work notebook and my camera for the endless videos I film and won't edit, or never-ending to-do lists I am writing. Mainly because there is so much to do, but also there is so much pen joy happening lately. I'm really loving writing in my Sterling ink, by the way. We'll talk about that soon. It's so fun to make a new list. I'm finding so many used Kleenex and napkins in my bags from blowing my nose in public, but not wanting to leave them for someone else. Oh my God. Seasonal allergies, am I right? My car is messier than usual, dirt, not trash, and I'm really missing when Avery detailed and washed it. I feel like my hair is growing like crazy, but I want to cut it more, despite being thankful I can mostly put it up in a ponytail when especially dirty. But I do see pictures of it longer and I think, wow, who is she? My nails are long and silver and bejeweled, and I'll be sad to see this manicure change. I'm very aware of my neck hump and tight hips, and I want to change them badly. I feel a lymphatic massage would change me. My gym sneakers are thoroughly ran through, but I am overthinking a replacement pair. The rain has kept me from the porch, and that's making me sad because I want to try out the bubble machine I bought when I saw a reel suggest it would keep mosquitoes away. I long for a morning reading out there out there or taking a meeting or editing a video before it gets too hot to manage. I wake up and I hit the ground running these days because there's so much to be done, always, of course, but especially before a trip. I can't wrap my mind around packing or even being gone this long. It will not hit me until I'm on the plane, likely touching down in Heathrow. I'm slowly inching back into audiobooks, mainly with rereads, because I feel so maxed. I'm not sure my mind can focus on a new story because it's on 8 things at once. I miss my friends and I'm happy to see Liz and Jesse this Sunday, but I'm already thinking what work I could be doing in those 4 hours we will be together. The sink at the studio is still not installed, and the whole thing makes me feel nothing, maybe, resigned, too tired to be annoyed, hard to say. Okay, we get it. You're overwhelmed. My toes are neon orange because I let the new tech choose during my last pedicure. I am slowly, maybe not at all, coming around to non-black ink. I think this page looks ridiculous, so maybe not. It's all orange. I am slowly testing out saying I'm 35. I'm slowly moving forward, or at least trying, maybe more so slamming on the brakes when I can. That was this morning. That was me 12 hours ago, 13 hours ago. And I have no recollection of that. I don't know. That was me in that moment. And I find a lot of value in that. So, my question to you right now is, who are you in this current moment? What's in your bag? How are you feeling about your hair? What jeans are you feeling best in? Stick it in your journal because I think future you is really going to need that, or not need it, but want it. Maybe need it. Again, I can't remember myself very well. Also, give me like an abridged version in the comments, or give me the questions that you're asking yourself about who you are in this current moment, because I want to see what I missed. Because it's clear, even when I'm trying to do this snapshot of who I am right now, I'm still slipping into feelings. I'm still like, I think because stress level's high, it's just at the edge of everything that I do. And so it makes it on the page kind of no matter what. And that's okay. Maybe the next time I do this practice, it will not be that. We'll see. All right, let's get into the episode. I have talked plenty enough. As always, when you hear this noise, look up because I got something I want you to see. Oh, and I got something I want you to know. Today is Erin's birthday. This episode releasing on her birthday feels very journal as altar to me. I don't know. I can't really explain it, but it works up here. And that just happened totally on accident. So it's fun to have these little synchronicities happening in life. Happy birthday, Erin. We are so happy to know you and so grateful that you share yourself so wholly and completely, obviously within this episode, but online. We are very, very grateful. Speaking of online, you can find Erin on Instagram, of course. I'll have all of this in the description. You can find her on Instagram. She has a Substack that you absolutely should be subscribed to. She offers monthly printables that are so fun to put in your journal. And on her website, she offers workshops and she's got like a whole stationery supply set up. So make sure that you're checking that out and just supporting Erin where you can. Okay, here it is. Happy birthday, Erin. And I hope y'all enjoy this. I'll see you in the next one. How long have you lived in Portland?
Let's see. I moved here in 2001, so 24 years. Yeah.
There you go.
I'm
I've
originally from rural Northern California.
Oh, okay, cool. I've not been to Portland yet. The closest I've been is Seattle, I think.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
I would love to come. It seems very magical.
I love Portland. It's changed a lot in the time that I've lived here, but what city hasn't?
Right.
When I first moved here, it was like so like scrappy and like you could, live on very little and it was like very arts and music focused and like I was going to
Mhm.
punk shows and basements and it was just very like easy to be broke.
Yeah.
And now that's really not the case. Now it's, gone the way of so many cities and the cost of living has skyrocketed and I still love it. It still has some of that vibe, which I appreciate.
Mhm. Yeah. I feel the same way about Atlanta. Like, just how much things cost these days are so crazy and how okay we have to be with it. When I was in college, there was a pizza place called Jack's, and it was the best. On Tuesday or on Fridays, you could go and get a 40 of High Life and a slice of pizza for $4.
My
And
goodness.
I would get a 40, a slice of pizza, and then go to work, work my night job. And it was like so ridiculous.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't even think you can get a 40 at a gas station for $4 anymore. So
Well, you know what's very funny, you say that is parallel. Just like I think on Saturday, I went to this place where with friends that used to be like the spot to go to, and we probably hadn't been there in like 15 years. And back in the day, you could get a corn dog and a PBR each for $1. So you'd be like, I'm
oh my
bringing
God.
$6. I'm gonna have three corn
Yes.
dogs and three beers.
That is the dream.
Everyone you knew was there. It
Mhm.
was so fun. No more though.
No. Yeah. Yeah, God. That's so fun. I am not much of a like a nostalgia journaler. I do find that very interesting and fun and valuable, but one, my memory is bad. And I can't always like translate these feelings I have or these like nostalgic memories into journaling. And I don't know, I'm a little jealous of people that can. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you do much nostalgia on the page?
I do. I mean, so I have been keeping a journal in the very early days when I was like in third grade. It was more of a diary, like
Hmm,
writing Dear Diary out, and I have those, which is I'm so
that's
glad I still have.
amazing.
Um, they're a little fraught. Those are there's some tension in my third grade world, and I'm glad I have them. And then I started keeping journals and kind of a combination of memory keeping and so many years ago that the nostalgia is like in real time, I guess, on those pages. And I do sometimes in current pages reminisce about things and write about it or kind of sometimes I'll compare how I thought about something in the past and how I think
Mm.
about it now or perceive it now. So a bit of that. And I also think, honestly, I've been alive long enough that a lot of things that are in style right now are nostalgic to me. So like so
Coming
like when
back,
I put a Y2K, when I put like a little puffy heart sticker on something, I'm like, that's nostalgic because I was a child when that
100%.
was, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think I like the way that you say it's like nostalgia in real time. I have written that down because I'm definitely going to be revisiting that later. But yeah, I like the zoom in, zoom out that journaling provides me. And I also, as a kid, was a big Dear Diary person, even up until college. I was
Mhm.
writing in my college diaries like every day. And then I don't know what happened where I just stopped doing it. I think actually what happened is I just used it all as like where I could be the saddest imaginable. And I stopped wanting to like sit
Yeah.
in that space so long. But yeah,
Oh
me
yeah.
too. I'm so jealous that you have the ones from when you were younger. I think my ex-boyfriend got rid of all my journals when
Man.
I know. I think yeah, it's a long story. I should not I should not have even brought that up, but I think
No.
he ditched those. But anyway, I have a couple from high school that I still flip through and I'm like, "Oh girl, yikes." And I wonder if like we'll feel that way, 10 years out from our journals.
I think about that all the time. I think about like if I look back at my journals from high school and even from college, there was definitely a time where I felt like the only thing I could journal about was angst, was like being sad. And I also had in high school, I wrote a lot of bad poetry. And so there's a lot of that in my journals. So
See, I did all
very,
that on Tumblr. I don't know if you were
oh,
a Tumblr girl,
God
but
bless.
I could not even write down my poetry. It had to live on an anonymous website.
Amazing. I mean, that was the time. That's what we did. And so yeah, there's a lot of looking back where I think was I this sad all the time? Or was I romanticizing being sad because I thought that's what you were supposed to do in a journal? Or like, was this me
100%.
trying to be grown up? Like what, you know, there was a lot of figuring myself out, I think, at that time and some bad relationships. Speaking of, a boyfriend doing something like that. A lot of reasons to be angsty. And also I think I look back and some things I wish I had done in terms of being a like epic journal keeper is I wish that I had written down like what was in my pocket, what was I wearing, what food did I eat, what car did I drive in, what jokes were my friends telling, instead of just like I'm so angsty about my girlfriend.
Yes. 100%. And I like Natasha in your phone. I was thinking about her earlier today because she does these like snapshots of this is what I'm liking right now, and this is how much gas costs, and this is how much, she's like, she's tracking in a like personal like way, for her, but also really globally. And I wish I had some version of that, especially back then. I want to know like what my favorite pair of jeans were, and I want to know like where I felt the most comfortable in the house, like little stuff like that that I think you start to forget as you get older.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's like now I try to do a little bit more because I can look back and wish I knew that. More of
Mhm.
a complete picture of just like who I am in a moment of time, and
Yeah.
wanting to know like, so now I don't, the thing is that's kind of strange is I don't always remember to do it even though I want to.
Yeah.
But like literally like write down what I my outfit. Like that's something I do want to, because it's just it's like the context and the fabric of our lives that, speaking of nostalgia, like I think that will make me feel happy in in the future. Me will be glad to have this like portrait, complete portrait of who I am right now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Unfortunately, that's why I like Instagram so much, is because I can go into my story archives from a couple years ago and see snapshots of that. But obviously, that's not forever. And I do need to figure out a way to like take that energy of just like being able to post a story in 15 seconds and put it in my journal in some way. And I don't know, I don't think I've quite figured that out yet, but that is something on my list. I like how you
Yeah.
say like a complete picture of who you are. I'm taking notes, by the way. I think when I look
Oh,
down, sometimes I forget to tell people that I'm taking notes, and
I
they're like,
figured you would.
"Oh,
Yeah.
they're being so bored by me."
You're texting? No.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, can you believe it?" And she's still
You're on
talking.
Instagram.
Yeah,
I actually, you know what? I actually, this is hyper specific, and I think that's probably okay because that's what we're doing, right?
absolutely.
I use my Instagram stories. I like sometimes I share something to an Instagram story simply because
It's just
I
for
know
you.
I'm going to remember it
Hmm.
later. And that's how I journal often, is like look back at, like if I missed 3 days,
Hmm.
what was I doing based on my stories? The problem with that is that I open Instagram to go look at my stories, and then I get sucked into Instagram,
Same.
and a time suck happens, and I'm like, wait, no, I didn't come here to do this. So
That
now
that
I'm wondering,
happens so often. I
oh,
love that you said that because it's like in 10 minutes will go by and you're like, that's 10 minutes that I was supposed to be journaling.
yeah. Yeah, and 10 minutes of like when I'm actually have pens in my hand or I'm gluing, cutting and pasting, I actually does my body good. Like it's good
Hmm.
for me. Like I
Yeah,
feel better when I do it, and I don't necessarily feel better. I mean, Instagram's not all bad for me. Like some people have that
I agree.
feeling.
Mhm.
And it doesn't, but it doesn't nourish, it doesn't like fill my cup in the same way that journaling does. So then I'm like, wow, I just gave away all of that time. So now I'm thinking this very, like, am I going to do this convoluted thing where I look at my stories, make notes, write it down, and then I'm referencing a piece of paper? Should I do that? Is that what you do? Oh my God. Yeah, amazing.
That's what this is. But then now looking at it, I'm like, some of it doesn't even fully make sense. And so I will have to go back in, yeah, March 23rd, it says producer ATL. And I'm like, what? I don't know what that means. Actually, it just hit me. I was watching Real Housewives of Atlanta and she asked the producer if she can break the fourth wall. And it was
Oh, right. Yes, yes.
incredible. Anyway, yes, I do think you have to do that. But I've also started trying more to pay attention to my notes app and like really dump something in there really fast because I I don't want that to happen to me where I get sucked into like Instagram and it's there forever. I do have a notes app that I just started. I used to do a thing where I was like, okay, it's April. And it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I do, 31 days in April, 31
Mm,
days in April.
goodness.
Like, I should know that. And I would like leave space to write something that happened that day because also I used to keep a like more like gratitude part and I needed my memory jogged. Anyway, I'm talking way too much. So now I just have things to journal about. And sometimes there are like memes. Sometimes it's just like a snapshot of something that I want to talk about. So
I
yeah,
love
I don't
that.
know. I don't know if this will help me because it still also says things that probably don't even make sense. But anyway,
I have used the Notes app very like intermittently, and I'd love to get consistent. Have you ever used the journaling app in the iPhone?
no, never.
I started using it because I don't write anything in it. I don't
Mm.
like, I'm not gonna, I think they want us to like journal in the app, which
Sure.
I will never
Like
do.
you can't have that.
You cannot have that. And though it will like tell you on a day like where you went, what you were listening to. It'll pull in photos from your Photos app to the day.
That's
So it
nice.
kind of helps a little bit when I'm trying not to get sucked into Instagram. So it's kind of amazing the hoops we jump through and the scaffolding we're doing. I mean, I love it. I love us for that.
Same. Yeah, we're perfect.
Yeah. No
So
notes.
when you went from like, Dear Diary to more of like a creative journal or memory keeping, like when was that? How long would you say you've been doing that?
Oh man. Okay. So actually, I think there was the years of Dear Diary and angst and like that phase. And then there was kind of a blackout phase where I didn't journal for probably in my a portion of my 20s. I think that I got really into bear with me. I got
Mm.
really into scrapbooking and um like in the traditional sense.
Of
And
course.
there was this time of my life, this is a side note, but I do think it's kind of funny. It's very me, where I was in my 20s, I was queer at the time. I was like, I had like hot pink hair and micro bangs and tats covered in
Mm.
tattoos. I was like, I'm so punk and queer. And I was like, and I spend most of my time at the scrapbook store. And I go to like, I used to go to, I'm not kidding. Do you even know what Stampin' Up is? It's a scrapbooking MLM from the 2000s.
Say it again.
Stampin' Up.
Stamping up. I do not. I do
Don't get
not.
to know. I mean, don't.
I wish I would have known. I was probably a little in the 2000s. I was still not still a little baby.
I'm a bit
Not
older than you.
yeah, just not
Yeah.
much. I mean, I graduated high school in 2008. I don't know that that
Yeah.
helps, but
Well, I graduated in 96. So,
not bad.
yeah, not bad. I'm a elder millennial
Mm.
Gen X cusp.
Yeah.
And so I was spending my time doing a lot of paper craft and scrapbooking for a while. I did a lot of like altered books, which was like a
Oh,
trend at the time.
yes. And that
Lots of,
came back in like the mid 2010s.
yep.
I did a lot of that in college.
I was so into that. And I was just in a very strange, like, I was like, I'm the only one like me in every single one of these spaces. None of my friends are into this. I'm going to like scrapbooking. I hang out the I go to like scrapbook meetups. I'm like very
Amazing.
deep into paper crafting. And everyone, actually, what's interesting is that everyone in those spaces who were probably a lot more conservative, honestly, than I was, were
Yeah.
still very welcoming and like, look at you, young little person. Welcome.
Oh.
And so there was that phase. And then I got back into journaling in a way that looks more like how I do it now. There's been some changes, but probably in like, it was like about 2015, I got back into, or started the practice that I have now more, which
Mm.
was pretty Hobonichi related. I think I got pulled into traveler's notebooks for a while and the planning, like planners and planning, although I'm really not a planner. I don't really do planning.
Really? How do you keep all your stuff straight?
I've tried so hard. Like I want to be a planner person, and I often uh, attempt it and then just don't do it.
Yeah.
I think the issue is that my work life is so dependent on my Google Calendar and emailing
Mm.
and Zoom meetings that it's like, am I going to go through and write all my fucking Zoom meetings on paper? No.
And it's funny, I do write in my Zoom meetings on my
I
paper
love it.
calendar. I know. I think I'm just so used to it. Like they gave
Yeah.
us an agenda in middle school and they said this is the only way, like you have to use this. And if you don't, your participation grade will lower. It was like our bathroom pass. We had to
Wow.
have it all the time. So I think they put us in this. I mean, obviously it didn't stick for a lot of people, but it really stuck for me.
I don't love that.
Yeah.
It's bizarre and to me.
It's
And
so bizarre.
someone was going hard for like the planner industry.
Yes. I know. I wonder like how that even happened. And it's funny with it being the bathroom pass, there were so many like agendas left in bathrooms. And so at the end of the day, they'd be like, okay, come up to the front office. And they'd like call out all these names being like, you left it in the bathroom. Isn't that crazy?
That is this feels kind of like very deep, like paper planner lore. Like that
Yeah.
is so like
Yeah.
it feels like embedded. That would be like embedded in my psyche.
Yeah. When the trend of like where my lore started
Mhm.
happening on Instagram, that was like one it was like a picture of this like universal like weird cover like it was like holographic-y and you could like run your
Wow.
fingernails across the cover and it'd make that like
Oh
noise like
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
weird how it really hit for like people, born in the
It
90s. I don't
imprinted.
know why.
Imprinted. Yeah, so I guess what was I 2015 is when I started doing more of what I do now. And it was like a coming like I also had a period where I just wasn't doing anything crafty or paper crafty at all for a while. And I think there was a time when I honestly, looking back, I'm like, girl, what? Don't question yourself. But I
Mm.
think I was like, maybe I'm too cool now or something.
Yeah,
Like a little bit of like, I don't do this anymore because I graduated from it.
I completely understand. Yeah, or it's like your priorities shift, like the internet becomes bigger and it's not as and also social life or whatever circumstances it is. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand that. And I do think there's like there can be a perceived like childishness to cutting paper and gluing it down. And I think people not in our space really can't relate to like what what we do. Like I was at a concert last night and they let out a confetti cannon and I was like I was itching, right? I was standing there and I was like, okay, it's in the middle of the show. We still had an hour to go and I was like, how can I get some of this off the floor? And they were my friends were like, "Oh, that was cool." And I was like, "Yeah, I need it for my journal." Like I couldn't even not say it. And they were like, "What?" They thought it was crazy, but yeah, anyway.
That's weird. I have confetti from Beyonce concert in a journal from like 2016. It's got to
That's
be you have to do it.
You have to. So
Yeah.
in 2015, 2016, all of, this time when you're getting back into this more like creative journaling practice, what journals are you using? What books are you using?
I was using, let's see, I was using Hobonichi. I found it. I think I found around that time is when I found like journaling planner Instagram.
Mm.
And that really did kind of pull me back in because I was like, oh, I actually am obsessed with stationery and I always have been,
Yeah.
and art supplies. That's also been like a constant. And I was like, why am I like, it was like, oh, I found myself again. I'm back, baby. And I
Yeah.
just went all in. So I was using Hobonichi, and let's see, I'm looking around. I think I got my first Hobonichi in 2015, maybe 2016. I have one from 2016 here. Um, I'd say I didn't hit my stride of like keeping up with it in a way that I kind of wished I had until the past few years. There's a lot of blank pages. I have
Yeah.
from 2018, which is kind of funny because I was like, I'm just gonna use watercolors and like do
Uh-huh.
these like little, snippets of my day.
Yeah.
But breaking out watercolor every day got a little cumbersome
Yeah.
and it was an impediment. So what I did do, which I think is kind of hilarious, is I just started going through and
Uh-huh.
writing on a post-it note to remind myself to go back. And so now it's 2025 and I have this journal full.
But honestly, that's fun. It's like its own version of art, just post-it notes.
No regrets. I mean, I think it also took me until I think I still was living under this delusion that I was going to go back and like fill it in
Yeah.
until like a year ago. And now I finally released, like, I'm
Yeah.
not doing that.
It's hard. It's hard. And even like the best intentions, like with my any back journaling I do, I have stopped using sticky notes because what would happen is I would be working on a page and it would hit the note behind it. And so I'd get this like outline of the sticky note and that would piss me off. So then I'd have to take the sticky note out and I'd put it somewhere and
Uh,
then so I was getting dates mixed up left and right because I was sticking notes back where it didn't go. So now I just write directly on the paper and I'm like I'll erase it if it really bothers me. But yeah, I think that's so cool. Have you always been an Avec person?
no, that was the only year I used the Avec.
Okay, so are you in just a cousin for the rest of these?
Yeah, yeah. I have this, so I always in this dance of like being a maximalist and having six different journals and then being like that was too much. That did not work for me. That was overwhelming. And then I pare it way down and then sometimes I drift back into like I'm going to invent six reasons to have six different journals and
1000%.
you know,
I
that whole
I
thing.
want to talk about that
Let's do
because
it.
I need to understand because I also feel like, oh, I'd love to have for all of my special interests its own book. But last year I sat down and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have like a reading journal and I'm
Mhm.
gonna illustrate the book covers. I'm gonna write about the book so that way I will remember it because, I'm just like everybody else. I can't remember a book I loved in, 3 days after it's
Right.
done. I could not do it. It was so time consuming. And so when I do see people with these multiple stacks in their year, I don't understand. So what when you have tried it in the past, what was the goal? What was each used for? I need to understand.
I think honestly, part of it was I just love journals and planners so much that I was inventing reasons to have to buy another one. Honestly, it's like was a bit of consumerism gone wrong for
Mhm.
sure. And then I think it's just like my most ambitious self wants to have like to be like tracking and documenting my life and the world around me because a lot of my practice also is documenting current events in the world, what's happening around me. I have that like social worker brain. I'm very involved in movements to make the world a better place for more people. So I'm wanting to document all that. So I think it's a combination of ambition and then being misguided and sucked into buying something to feel better,
Right,
honestly.
right.
But I have, last year was a fairly successful little foray into multiple books, better than the past, but I also didn't have as many. So there's still though, I still am like wanting to believe that I'll fill in some of the end pages that I didn't get to.
Sure.
Like October through December fell off in both of them. But this is a Hobonichi cousin that I was using as a commonplace book, which was something new to me, trying to capture current events and things I learn and do research and practice like art practice, like trying new things, and
Yeah.
not memory keeping, just really like what am I learning? What's exciting to me? What are facts that I learned? What's going on in the news? So I was
Mhm.
doing in the weekly section, I was doing mostly current events and mostly like, and sometimes this is where I would write like a joke from Instagram, like a meme that I
Sure.
thought was funny, quotes that I love, just like, you know, what's
Yeah.
happening and because the way I focus on things, there's a lot of heavy stuff in my journals because
Mhm.
it's just kind of who I am. Balance with silliness. And then in the daily pages I would do like meeting notes or like I'm just filling space or I
Yeah.
I had a really bad Charlie horse, so I Googled
Oh.
what are Charlie horses about? Like why
And
did
what
that
are they?
it's a lack. It's being active in high or low temperatures, being dehydrated, lack of magnesium or potassium,
Oh,
stress, poor posture, just a whole host of
I
reasons.
I have all of those.
Charlie
Awesome.
horses are the worst when you wake up
There.
in the middle of the
I
night.
know. So, and it's sometimes you can feel one coming on and you're like, I can maybe work out of it,
Yeah.
like if yeah.
Have
That's
you ever
crazy.
had one while you're driving? That is a no thing.
Oh, no.
Not
I
good.
crashed my car.
Yeah. I've had one time while driving and it was not great. Anyway, so
Oh.
that's an example of the kind of like
Okay,
silliness.
I'm not off of this yet. So, are the days because you're in a Hobonichi cousin, but I think for the
Yeah.
three people watching that don't know what that is, they every day has a page.
Yep.
And what you're writing, does that have to do with the date, or are you just using this almost as a notebook?
It has to do with the date in that it's what I was thinking about on that day, but it's not tied to it in a memory keeping kind of way. It's not
Sure.
so it's like um and sometimes I might have gone back if there are blank pages and just done like I was gardening and I planted a bunch of lily of the valleys and they weren't
Mhm.
blooming. So on this page I did like no, this page I did like why are they not blooming? And I looked it up and
Mm.
wrote notes on why that they weren't blooming.
It's
Uh,
still very creative. Like it seems like that's is taking a lot of time or did take a lot of time to do.
I mean, well, there's a fair amount of blank pages. So,
Yeah.
especially towards the end. Um, and I'm totally okay with that. Here's like I practiced some hand lettering and wrote a Boy Genius lyric. Like I just
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with the date.
Sure.
except I
That's
probably
fun.
was really into Boy Genius at that moment. Yeah.
I
And then I have, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I keep a work notebook. I don't know where it ran off to, but it is my version of that where
Mm,
it was literally I just had it in my hand. That's so funny. Where it's like work notes, meeting stuff, figuring things out, sketching, like sometimes it's feelings. And I have considered so often, like, should I try to do this in a Hobonichi cousin? But I'm scared that I will run out of space because
mhm,
I'm also very not precious with my crappy work notebook.
mhm.
Wow, I'd love to show it to you, but I literally had,
Walked away.
oh my God, Erin, I'm
It's in your
using it.
hand.
I'm using it.
That's very like what is this, Inception? I don't know. It's very like meta. It's like your
That's
journal, your
very like I need to take a long walk, I think, and and maybe a nap. That's so funny. Anyway, I have a work notebook,
love
um,
it.
and it's just like scribbling, writing notes and stuff. I would worry that I would run out of space,
I
in the
get that.
Hobonichi cousin, even though it's
It's like a
like,
brain dump.
yeah, I don't know. I need to kind of get over it a little bit because it would be nice to have this like beautiful, huge book, that I can use at work. Anyway, sorry. Tell me about
No,
the
no,
next journal.
love it. No, this is the whole point, is to like compare, go back and forth. Like, if we're here because we love it. I mean, this was the book I used in 2024 for memory keeping. It was a Sterling Ink Common Planner, it's called, and it is similar layout to Hobonichi, except the pages in the back are not dated,
Hmm.
which is a blessing and a curse because there's the freedom of it not being dated, but there's also the like I might lack a little bit of drive to keep going.
Yeah.
Although I'm super happy with how it went in this book. So in the weekly pages, they look essentially the same design wise. But it's more memory keeping in the
Hmm.
weekly pages, like what I was doing in a day. Sometimes there's creep between what I put here and what I put in the other one, and I just kind
Yeah.
of don't care all that much
Yeah.
about that. And then in the back, it's more like memory keeping and things I took from the world. There's some photos, that kind of thing. Um,
So I get a little stuck in my ways and I don't like change. And I'm curious, is this the first time since 2015, 2016 that you have strayed away from Hobonichi, or do you try different books like this every couple of years? Like, how did you land in the Sterling Ink?
the Sterling ink, I'm pretty sure I was clairfluenced by that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's where I learned about Sterling ink. I
Yeah.
think.
That's where I
And
learned about Sterling Ink. I'm not up as much as I love stationery, I'm not up on all of it. And so I do rely on the girlies to tell me what's happening.
and they will.
Yeah, and they will.
I'm pretty sure that, and I just wanted to try it, and I just kind of again got sucked in to a consumer moment. No regrets though. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are some years when I haven't used a Hobonichi because I also have a backlog of so many undated journals that I've never used, that are just like I've collected over the years. And so sometimes I'll go through a phase where I'm like, I have to use the ones I already have. I'm not buying a new Hobonichi. I think I'm past that because I'm now emotionally connected to a Hobonichi in a way that I can't explain. It's
Yeah. 100%. 100%. My friend Grant, who I'm obsessed with, he is the best. And he's not on the internet. He's the
oh,
type of young where he's like not he knows social media is bad for you, so he's not on it. He is on YouTube though, so
oh.
hi Grant. Um he I was talking to him last year and I had convinced myself to try an Avec. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. And he was like, can't relate because I want to, in 15 years to look up on my shelf and see the same book across the board. And I was like, you're absolutely right. And in the end, did not take the Avec route. And I am also like a little too emotionally attached to the Hobonichi, but I think maybe using a Sterling ink for the common planner, yeah,
Yeah.
for like what I want to do with this work notebook, maybe that's the answer because it's undated in the back.
Yeah, that actually makes a total sense. And yeah, I can see that for sure. And I do really like, I mean, now there's all of the controversy that whatever, I can't really go too deep with it. The paper quality, the Tomo River
Yes.
paper issues. In 2024, I don't think the paper had changed yet. So the paper quality is really, really lovely. I do kind of like the gilded, although the more
Mm-hmm.
chunky it gets, the kind of
Yeah, you
more
see it
chaotic.
less.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I still love it. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I do really like it. I think if I was using it for brain dumping kind of purposes, it would be great because of the undated. And I do love that there's a page number.
Yeah.
So you
Do
can,
an
if you wanted
index.
to do an index, you could.
So how in your memory keeping practice, how were the undated pages?
Um, I I kind of wish that I had done the reverse of honestly in 2024. I wish I had done the commonplace, what I'm learning and taking notes on in the undated, and I wish that I had done the memory keeping in the Hobonichi. That's
Yeah.
lesson learned.
I need the accountability.
Yeah,
Even if I'm just going to draw like a picture of flowers on the page, I still need it to have a number on it or I'll just never pick it
that's
up.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like people often like, you know, I teach workshops and am very much in this journaling space, and what people will often come to me with is like um they're like feelings of despair, really, that they're like not keeping up, or that and if I say something like, I want the accountability of the dates, people hear that as like, I
Every
don't
day.
know. Yeah, every day, or like you're going to get in trouble if you don't, or
Right.
there's like a bad feeling if you don't. And I just don't have that relationship with it at all. If I don't do it, I don't do it. This is for me. So there's no getting in trouble with me about
Yeah.
my journaling.
I can't
Um,
quite relate there, but I understand and respect that. I feel I need the accountability, but I also can't quite let it go. Like I often spend, 7 days in January back journaling
oh yeah.
my previous years because I can't leave empty pages. Or
I
I'm
think
just learning, I guess I should say.
I remember actually you did like a journal-a-thon or something. That was very compelling to watch.
Yeah,
Actually, I
and
loved
I'm
it.
gonna have to do another one because I have done maybe 3 days in my March in my
Mhm.
Hobonichi and none in April. Like it's been a busy year. I mean, everybody's busy, but I'm having a
Yeah.
really hard time prioritizing it with
Mhm.
the Tombow work that I'm doing, which is just
That's
the
huge.
yeah, it's yeah, all the time that I'd be working my Hobonichi, I'm doing Tombow deliverables now, which I'm super excited about and grateful for, and I'm happy about the work that I'm making. But it has been a hard like I've struggled with it. I've struggled with like, oh, I don't get to do my little thing anymore when I want to do it, and that's hard. But
Yeah.
that's
Well, and it's just like a constant balance and juggling, and I feel like we're like in a relationship with the practice itself, and it
yeah,
shifts and changes. And I think when, especially when, if I could say, like when you're self-employed and or when you run a business. So I run two businesses, my consulting business and my journaling business. You kind of, I mean, you have journaling and your studio and ceramics, and I'm probably talking about that in the not I don't
no,
ceramics.
yeah, you're doing it great. Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, maybe there's some insider term, I don't know. Um, and I think that that also is, oh, there's just something, my days often feel chaotic and frenetic. Like I'm just like, I don't do all these different things in all these different categories. And all of a sudden now I'm like doing my books and like taxes and stuff. And I don't enjoy an ounce of that.
Mm-mm.
Um, so it's just a lot of attention going in a million different directions. I think when I don't know what the end of this point is really. It's just that when you're like pulled in many different directions and your attention, you're like multitasking and multifaceting your whole life every day. Um, and then who you are blends into the money making part of it, and it's just a lot.
It is, and I think you've run businesses for much longer than I have, but I have where the places I learned to work were very toxic. And it
Hmm.
was very much like, oh, you work 8 hours a day, and anything that you want to do that's not work has to happen after. And so I really
Hmm.
struggle now with monetizing hobbies
Yeah.
um, and bringing in more like creative stuff that gets you paid. It's really hard for me to do it within working hours. I have a hard time being like, sitting down and working in my Hobonichi and filming it for like a, journal with me, I have a hard time considering that work. So then I have to do
Mhm.
that on weekends because I also have other work to fill the time. Anyway, it's to run your own
Yeah,
business. Yeah, we get the flexibility to chat in the middle of the day or, in the late morning for you, but it also means that you're working all the time. And that's
that's
something
right.
that even 6 years in business, I'm like, cool, does this ever end? And I think the answer is no.
Well, let me give you your flowers for a second because I went into business in 2020. So you've been in business longer
Oh,
than me.
nice. Okay, good. Well, that makes me feel better. Not, but
Yeah.
like not competition wise, but like
No,
that
no, I
that
know.
you understand the like the
Yeah.
ebb and the flow and the like, it's
Yeah.
it's a blessing and it's also hard. And I don't know if you do this, but like yesterday someone was like, "So what do you do for work?" And I was like, I'm like, let me try to explain it. And I got really kind of clammed up and like a little
Mhm.
embarrassed because I was like, it's hard to explain. I don't know. But it's not, but it is.
It is. Well, it's so much easier. Like when I had jobs where I went to a place and someone was my boss, it was a lot easier. Like, this is my job title and this is what I do. And I have like the journaling aspect of things, which is really not, it's like a supplement to my income. It's not my income. Like, it's a small piece of my income. I have a small shop where I sell
Yeah,
stationary items.
I want to talk about this for sure.
Okay. And then the main part of my business is consulting and requires a lot of brain power and a lot of like I do a lot of training, I do a lot of like public speaking, I do a lot of like writing and building curriculum and teaching and coaching. And I love that. And it is really hard to explain.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and I do all of those things I just listed around a multitude of topics from having done social work related violence prevention work for 20 years. So I have multiple, and it's just like, I'm like, if I really explain it, you're also going to be bored as hell. Like, it's just too much.
Yeah, no, I get you. I mean, I tell people all the time, like, my parents don't know what I do. Like, they don't quite understand it. So,
Uh,
yeah.
Same. That is such a thing, I think. I don't know if that's like, is that a generational thing? Is that a being self-employed thing? My parents cannot. They ask me, they're like, I was trying to tell so and so what you do, and can you tell me again so I can tell them? And they just
Yeah.
can't even input, they can't even
No.
onboard what I say.
No. They just, and sometimes they'll be like, yeah, she's on the internet. I'm like, okay, well, everybody's on the internet. So it's like, you can't tell people that's what I do. But yes, it's, God bless them.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Journal is Altar. What do
Okay.
you provide? And I want to hear about the workshops. I want to hear about it all.
Let's see. Well, I started Journals Alter, like I shifted my Instagram and changed my Instagram name. I think my Instagram name used to be Stationary Standard or yeah.
Mm,
Um, it was years ago. When I kind of was like, okay, it happened. I think it was probably during COVID, which I think so much happened for people during COVID. I was like, I'm making journal pages that feel like, I'm not a super woo person, maybe a little touch of woo, but I am someone who will be like, okay, there's an altar. I'm looking in my office because there's like
mm,
an altar, but on the altar is like a soda can because I like the design, a broken
mm,
necklace that my mom gave me that used to be my grandma's,
mm.
and a postcard that a friend sent me. And that's like the extent that's like, I'm just like, paying homage to like
Sure.
moments that I love and things I
Yeah.
love. And I had this moment where I was like, I think I'm making journal pages that are that to me, that feel that way to me.
Mm,
And so that kind of helped me deepen my practice a little bit and get more committed and interested and seeing it as like it's not just a silly hobby, it's actually a big part of my life. And then I during the pandemic, I ended up I think a local shop asked me to do an online workshop, and it was the first time I did an online workshop, which, the lesson is that selling workshops during COVID is very different than selling workshops outside of COVID
mhm.
online.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, it was a great entry point. So I taught a workshop about this idea of keeping a journal as an altar, which is really kind of where I've landed now is it is the idea of romanticizing your life and paying tribute to yourself and the people you love and the things you love and down to like the meme that you love, what you're listening to,
Totally.
what makes you laugh.
A
And
selfie.
a selfie, 100%. Um, and felt really important during that time. And now it's still, just really morphed into how I talk about my Hobonichi like it's my emotional support Hobonichi because I actually kind of want to hug it. Like
Yeah.
I love this book.
Yeah.
And I
At the
love
end of the year, when you're just holding it, it's just like the dedication to yourself, is
it.
so, I don't know, it's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
It is. It is. I love the way you put that. And a lot of when I started teaching workshops about this idea, and I realized that a lot of people that were coming to the workshop were people who had never journaled before or hadn't done a lot of creative stuff before and were really caught up in the like, but what if I don't like it of it all? What if I try and I ruin the notebook? What if I use the supplies wrong or I feel bad about myself? So I started integrating a lot of that into my workshops around challenging perfectionism. And if you're thinking of this as like you're romanticizing your life and it's a tribute to you and your wholeness and the world around you, maybe you can find a way to unhook from the perfectionism because it's a practice that is
Yeah.
for us. It's not, and it's not that I don't, I mean, sometimes I'll tell people like I make pages that I really don't like, honestly, and that's fine. I mean, I don't, it's okay.
I
Uh,
want okay. I'm gonna now ask you to do some work for free because I want to tell you what's been happening for me. And then I want to tell you something that I noticed today. So when I have monetized my hobby, right? I did this in 23 and 24 and I really just started sharing my journals in 2024 and I really like sharing. I really like connecting in that way. I love like putting it out there and people feeling something or like taking inspiration. Like I just it's so fun and it's like very addictive when people are like, "Oh, I tried this because I saw this," in Amy's journal or Claire's journal or whoever's journal. And this year, while also dealing with what I was talking about earlier with my art time being now dedicated to another company or another person in this way, I'm having a hard time coming to my journal. And when I do, I feel like there's so much pressure there because I do share it. And
mhm.
I've set this standard for myself because in the years past, I've had, you know, 10 hours a week to play in it that I don't have anymore. So I don't necessarily feel like it's a perfectionism thing. I feel just like insurmountable pressure. So I want you
Mm.
to fix me really fast, if you don't mind, if you could pop in and do that.
I mean, I actually, I really do relate to that. I don't have um I think the particular lift that you're doing, being a creative partner with a big pen company or art supply company is like awe-inspiring, and also I could see and feel how that would impact all of this for sure. So just yeah, acknowledging that feels very significant.
Thank you.
Um, I think, and I also struggle with sometimes like people not it's not so much people are watching and so I'm going to monitor how I journal. I actually don't worry about that much. I'm
I
like
feel the same. Yeah.
I'm just going to block out stuff that's private when I
Or,
share. I
or
don't.
often I'll forget the amount of things I put on the internet. I've had people message me and be like, "Girl, your address is online.
Oh, same.
Take it out." I'm like, "Oh
Same.
my bad."
DM, like, right, doxing yourself on your
Mhm.
posts.
Yep.
I've actually, this is a loop. Well, let me, really funny side note, and then I
Please.
promise we'll get back. I'm trying to, I don't think anyone would be watching this. I'm going to be as secretive as I can without giving up.
Okay.
I wrote something about someone I was working with, a thing I was doing
Uh-huh.
professionally, my 9 to 5.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And it was a complaint about something that I was unhappy about. And I didn't catch that I didn't catch it when I posted it. And I um usually would like look through it very thoroughly and cross things out. I did not. And a few days ago, and it's a post from I probably posted that a year ago.
Oh
Someone
no.
else who knows the people that I work with in a work meeting, because now there's a crossover where which is very strange. There's like the social work girlies that are in my life that are like, I
Sure.
love that you do this. I love the journaling thing. I want to do this. And part of me is like, I love this so much. Another part of me is like, oh my God, my worlds are colliding in this way that's
When
uncomfortable.
pe when people at the gym are like, I follow you on Instagram. I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm like, Don't. Please don't."
And mine
It's
in
not
particular
for
is like,
you.
well, for me in particular, it's very strange and salty for me to say that because I literally make workshops. They're like creative
Sure.
practices for navigating difficult, stressful work. So like I've
Everything
got
has nuance. Yeah.
But anyway, so this person I work with was like complaining about the people I had complained about, and then said, I saw in your journal that you, and I was like, and she was like, and it was so funny to me because I feel the same way. And I was laughing so hard. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
no, that is not what I want to be doing. That's not good.
No. Ugh.
That was a big, I don't know, whatever. It's actually ultimately fine because I don't think it's going to get around. But I was like, I need to pay closer
I know.
attention.
Hey, I'm right there with you. I've had to like I've spent hours trying to edit down a reel before because I realized I had like I just when I was flipping through I didn't cover up something about a meeting I had and I posted it even and someone was like, "Oh, you need to like pull that down." And it was so hard because it was like I've been editing it for so long and like it doesn't make sense to like cut it in the middle. Anyway, just the woes of being online and
The
sharing.
woes. But to your question though about like how do you face the pressure and still engage in your in your creative practice that you love that's for you and the internet. It's like it's like primarily for me and it's also for the internet.
Yeah, for sure.
Um do you feel like it's a time is the time issue the biggest challenge? Like it not
I
having
it
time?
is it's time. It is uh this kind of like lie that I'm telling myself that if I have done, if I've gone to work and I've painted and then I've come home and I've done a Tombow thing, by the time I get to my journal, I'm out of creativity,
Yeah.
which is not real, but I think the real thing is I'm just tired and
Yeah.
I'm not able to let myself say that I'm tired.
Mhm.
And then I think the other thing is maybe like I want to put out the best work I possibly can. And I don't, so yes, so I think it does come back to time to answer your question. It just took me a while to get there because I can't always spend an hour on a page like I want to
Right.
make the best work I can. And I know that something that I need to do is do another journalathon where I say, you have 2 days and you better just fill in those pages because if I keep coming into the year being like, you don't have the time to make the best possible work you can, then I will not do it. And I will feel so disappointed in myself because it's not like I'll keep doing it because I want to quit and I feel like I won't or I can't let myself quit. I just want to keep doing it and I want to make sure that I'm having fun. I don't know. Anyway, did that even,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry.
I to know that totally I think is it sums up the way I feel about it, which is like it's not a perfectionism thing. It's not a like I'm comparing my journal, which is what people do come to me a lot with. Like I want my journal to look like yours, and we'll unravel that. And that's not the that's a different thing though than what you're describing. And I think I feel the same with time pressures and then about being out of creativity. And I don't know if this is true for you, but I was relating to it what you said is kind of like an all or nothing. Like I either can do it all or I'm doing nothing.
1000%, 1000%. I'm
And
like
that
that in so many aspects of my life.
you do.
Like if I have a 10 a.m. meeting and then I can't do anything until 10 a.m. You know what I mean? And
Oh
I
yeah.
hate that. I
Oh
hate
yeah.
that.
Or like it's 2 p.m. so the day's over and I'm
Exactly.
it's like yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely have those tendencies. And I think, and actually, what we do sometimes talk about in workshops and exploring is like, is there a way for me to start kind of taking on this all or nothing thing in my life in general and not making it just about journaling that might make some of my creative practices more accessible to me in the doing so? It's like, what am I doing in my with what is happening in my relationship with my creativity that is actually related to something much bigger than the journal itself. And I think there's just so many messages in this world that make us want to be all or nothing. And it's really getting us stuck in this binary of like, instead of both and, we're like either or all the time. I'm either this or I'm that. And it's,
Mhm.
it's just not, it's something that I do believe we can unhook ourselves from. It just takes a lot of intention and
And
thinking.
I could completely agree. And I think some time helps, which is also the opposite of what I've sat here and made you talk
Oh,
about for the last 10
tell me
minutes
about.
is like today I posted just some pages for my cousin because I have actually like accidentally been hiding it from everyone and like not sharing it. And part of it is the pressure, part of it is the time. And I've kind of gone into it thinking like, oh, I haven't done anything this year that I'm really proud of. And as I'm flipping through and taking pictures to share on the internet, I'm like, wait, no, I am actually really proud of these things. And they were low effort. And I got to sit down and watch Housewives while I did it. And I think it just reframed a lot of things for me.
I actually, from what you're saying, it's reminding me, because in my journals altar, my shop, I sell rubber stamps, which some people, use and whatever. Some people use them, some people don't. I sell rubber stamps and then like stationary items that I import, which maybe not for long. Um,
Baby, tell me
I
about it.
actually was thinking about you
Yes.
and your business, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But one of the stamps that I made that really you don't need the stamp to say this, but was this, it's right here, is low stakes, high impact. And
Mhm.
that's like an affirmation for me in my creative process, is that I want it to feel low stakes, but the
Mhm.
impact is that the joy and the fun and the all that it brings to my life has a big impact, but I want it to also be low stakes. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's nice.
constantly reminding myself that, because it gets into this weird territory, especially when you monetize.
Mhm. Do you do any stickers or anything like that, like planner stickers
I
that are
haven't
paper?
done Yeah, so I haven't done stickers that would be like, I'd say, coded purely as planner, but I have stickers. I'm looking at my books because they're on some of the covers. I mean, this is my current Hobonichi, which I'm obsessed with. I'm always obsessed with my current. I'm like, this
Of
is my
course.
favorite baby.
Mhm.
Um, there's a couple stickers on here that are from my shop or that I made, like
Oh,
clearly.
yes, and I've seen that repeat a few times in your pages.
Yeah.
There's one with like a sad face or something, or it says like feeling.
Oh,
That
yeah.
familiar?
That one is just me trying to be human during inhumane times.
Yes,
And
yes,
it's
yes.
like a melting face. Yeah,
Yes, that's right, that's right.
shows up a
Yeah,
lot.
I am a happy planner girly, as I think anybody that spends 6 seconds with me knows.
Yep.
And the beauty of these happy planner stickers, of course, I pull a book out that I've used so many out of that you can't even see what I'm trying to say. The beauty of these stickers is that they're paper.
Yeah.
And you can write on top of them, obviously they're paper. And I want that.
I love
And I
that.
find that a lot of us buy and make things that are not necessarily on that thin paper. And so I'm
Yep.
always looking for um, people that do and also will, and then will also tell me how I can make some.
It's funny that you say that because um I have in the past gotten my stickers manufactured by like a sticker company, just it's
Yeah.
overstating to say getting them manufactured. Anyone can
Hmm.
order stickers.
Yeah.
And they tend to be like on vinyl, which I'm also like,
Yes.
I don't want, that's why they end
Exactly.
up more on the outside. Like I don't
Exactly.
want
It's a little
it's
too thick.
too
Yeah.
thick.
Hmm.
It's too thick. And I actually have started recently making printables for
Hmm.
folks that are on my Substack, and I love making them. And
Yeah.
I
Tell me about those. I've seen people using those and they're so cool. I
thank
definitely
you.
need to get into that.
I love them. So, I just designed them on an 8 by 10 or whatever the normal printer paper, 8.5 by 11 or whatever it is. I don't know.
Hmm.
And anyone can print them on their home printer. I print them on sticker paper that is very thin and papery. It's very cheap, actually.
Hmm. Yeah. Right.
And that is actually how I want to make stickers that I sell in sheets. And I actually
Exactly.
have the Cameo silhouette, it's called, where you can print
Uh-huh.
and cut
I
stickers.
was gonna say, do I have to get a Cricut? Is that what you're about to tell me?
Well, I have this and I've had it for a long time, and I still haven't learned how to use it because I'm
Mm.
very
There's
overwhelmed.
same,
I'm
insane.
just like, and I bought it as a business. It's like a business. My business bought it. So
Of
there's the
course.
justification. It's just sitting there. But now that I order stickers from countries with really high tariffs, I'm not even going to be doing that probably anymore. So I'm feeling compelled, like I have to learn how to use that. And I do want to print on paper,
Yeah.
sticker paper, because of the point you've made, which
Mhm.
is, I think, the most desirable. I want to be able to write on any of them. Uh,
Yes. Well,
yeah.
I look forward to you doing that. And in what date will you have learned the cameo that so that I can circle back and say,
I know what, actually I should give myself a date,
yeah,
because wow, it's just been sitting on my desk in
yes.
my basement studio for a long, long time. Um, yeah, yeah. Hopefully soon. I think that I'm very curious. Like I design rubber stamps. I actually have no idea. They're made in the US, the factories in the USA, but I'm pretty sure they probably don't get their rubber from the
Yeah,
USA.
exactly. Yeah. Well,
So those prices are probably all going to go up, and I'm not sure if I'll continue making them or not. It's just time will tell, I guess.
yeah.
So paper stickers are going to be like the thing.
Yeah, and luckily that's what I want. So, and the printables are so cool. Is that going to be something that you do quarterly or monthly, or what have you thought?
Yes. Thanks for asking. I just decided that I'm going to do them once a month for paid subscribers on Substack, and I'll throw out a free one every once in a while.
Very smart.
That's kind of the idea. And the other thing I'll mention is that a lot of the work that I do in my 9 to 5 job is federally funded historically, and that's all, um, who knows what's going to happen.
It's
So
all this. Yes, it's
just
this.
this. So I'm trying to diversify my income in some ways, and uh, there's also, I need to keep some things private for a lot of those specific reasons. So sub paid Substack is kind of the way I'm going, but I also want to make sure that the people who can't afford get good things also for being free subscribers. Yeah.
Can I ask how you landed on Substack versus something like Patreon?
That's such a good question. I was just the other day like, I'm using Substack like Patreon. Why did I do that?
Mm.
Um, I think though, ultimately, Substack, I like the interface better. I
Yeah,
like the folks
I
on
think it's easier to
Substack,
use. Yeah.
easier to use. And I actually really love now, and because I also do a lot of videos on Substack, uh, leaning more in that direction. So then why wouldn't I use YouTube? Because I don't really do use YouTube. I think it's because I love a one-stop shop where I can write a blog with
Yeah,
photos. I can hide things behind a paywall when I need to, and I can offer benefits to paid subscribers. And Patreon's just a little too clunky for me personally.
agreed. I had a Patreon several years ago and it was, I'm glad I did it. I learned a lot, but I also felt a tremendous amount of pressure. That's something separate, but it's
Mm.
hard to use. It's as an app, I think as a consumer, it can be easier, but as a person that's putting the content into it and managing it, it's not very fun. And I want to pick mine back up, right? Because I'm having this year of feeling like I want to. I want to share, but I want to be controlled about how I share. And so I would love to put it behind a paywall.
Mhm.
And I don't know where the space is to do that. I don't think it's Substack for me. It might be YouTube memberships
Mhm.
or it might be Patreon. I don't know. So if anybody has any suggestions, please in the comments tell me. But
That's great.
yeah, it's, you know, like you're saying, like we don't know what the next several months will hold and, you know, diversifying income and
Mhm.
it's hard. It's hard. It's hard.
Mhm. It is, yeah, but it is. And I was thinking about too, like, dare I even say, like,
Mm,
wow, the Hobonichi import.
right.
Like, oh no,
I know.
we'll
I know.
see.
I'm and you know, I I shouldn't say, but I'm about this close. I'm about a martini away from picking up the phone and calling members of my family and saying, "You satisfied? This is what you wanted, right?
I
How are
mean,
those grocery prices?"
it's so real. I mean, I won't take us too, because I could really go off.
Mm,
I write about, because I also am connected to my work to movements,
yeah.
that make people's lives better. And so it's very important to me. My whole sort of like, I'd say overarching with Journals Alter and everything I do is I just want the world to be a good place for as many people as possible. It's like above politics. It's above politics ends up being a part of that because it interrupts it all. But I just want everyone to have what they need to be okay. And the fact that that's controversial right now is so deeply upsetting. And it shows up in my journals a lot because
I
I'm
bet.
pissed.
I know. I know. And
And
people want to try to separate it and say like, "Oh no, I don't mean about." Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry. No, we
yeah,
can't get into it. I'll.
I know, I
I will
know, I
derail
know.
us so deeply. Um, I do want to talk about. I'm like, how do I even recover from trying to just
Yeah.
blast out all of it?
Everyone knows. We're all in it.
I know, and it's I don't want to be an echo chamber either, but so I do want to talk about like your act of journaling. You know, I want to talk like nitty-gritty of supplies. You know, what do
Mm.
you like to use? Because you use a lot of different pens, you use a lot of different like printables and stickers and things like that. So I want to and also a lot of found stuff, ephemera and things like that. So
Right.
tell me your favorite supplies.
I am a maximalist in
Hmm.
my pages and in my supplies. I have been kind of collecting. I mean, just look at all this like stuff everywhere.
I know it's beautiful.
Thank you. I've been collecting art supplies since I was a tiny child, like saving my money and I've always hoarded, brought in as many art supplies as I can. And so I do have a lot, a lifetime's worth of, and I'm constantly trying to thin it out because it can be overwhelming to have that
Oh,
much
yeah,
stuff.
100%.
But my favorite supply, I mean, I like I'm an anything goes kind of person. My tried and trues though are I mean, it's no surprise we all love the Tombow Food and Nesque or
Mm.
Food
Are you
Almost
a hard tip or soft tip?
hard tip.
Oh, 100%.
Just tried the soft tip again and I was like, it feels like chaos.
It does not suit the way I hold a pen. I'm actually going to try it right now while you're talking, and I'm just going to get mad all over again. But
Just feel like it makes my writing look the way I don't want it to look.
mm,
And I think that maybe it's a control, like if I practiced more, but I also am like, I don't care enough to practice more. Like, why would I, you know?
yeah.
So I do, but I do love the hard tip is like I come to that often. I also love these Uniball one pens that look like this with like this little flippy.
Wait, which one is that? Okay, is this the same as this?
It's the same as that. It's just a different size. Same.
I'm addicted to this pen. I
Is that the
just
chubby
got it.
one?
It's the
Yep.
yeah,
It's the,
yeah, the Uniball
yeah.
one. Yeah. I regret so deeply not buying like six more, just in case.
Just to get your backups. You gotta have your
Yeah,
backups.
I'm addicted to this pen. Do you have a point five or are
I
you
have I use a point 0.5 and a 0.38.
I wish I would have gotten the 3.8. It's a little thin for me
Mm.
all the time. My handwriting doesn't really lend to the thinner ones
Uh,
all that much, but yeah, it's a perfect point 0.5. Oh,
and it's so smooth on Hobonichi paper.
so
It's like
smooth.
just
And
glide.
on Happy Planner paper, it's
Oh,
very smooth.
good to know. I've never used a Happy Planner, but I love
Oh,
I mean, I'll be honest. I never would have been like a Happy Planner, cool. No offense,
same,
Happy Planner.
same,
I love the way you're
same.
using it. I've actually been like, do I need one? No, I no. Do I? It's
I
like
think you need to write those Zoom meetings down. No, I'm
um
addicted, but I'm was with you too. Like it's very you go girl, and I'm not.
right. It's very like fempreneur. It's like
Yeah.
girl boss. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Messy bun, get it done. Luckily, they don't really make stuff like that anymore, but I've acquired old books from people, books of stickers, and it is very much like girl
That was
boss,
that's
hashtag loving life. It's crazy. But
such
anyway.
a cool moment. And I do love these. I do
Yeah.
love them. And I also have been, honestly, I am very inspired with the way that you in particular have used Tombow pens in your Hobonichi. It got me thinking about them in a different way. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, I love. And then I also just am a big sucker for stickers. Like I can't get enough. I love stickers. So probably the most constant things are stickers, those pens I mentioned, and rubber stamps, but I also will just pull out any pen. And I mean, I have like um I might be jumping ahead, I don't know,
No,
but I'll tell
please.
you, I have in terms of like gluing whatever in my journal, this is probably one of the weirdest things I've ever done. Let
Oh,
me
I
find the
love
page real
that.
quick.
I haven't asked this in a while, so that's perfect. I want to see this.
I bear with me here. I bought these nylon, like I don't even know, like socks. They're like you would wear them with loafers. They're like short
Uh-huh.
and
Hmm.
they're gray with white polka dots. And I was like, these are so cool. I love these. I'm gonna look so like sleek and sophisticated
Uh-huh.
wearing like short jeans and these little
Uh,
socks and my loafers. And then they were very slippery. Like my foot was just doing
oh,
this. Like
yeah,
I
I hate
couldn't. And I actually cut
that.
sock and put it, why can't I do backwards? Yeah, I cut a
I
piece.
would have never known that's a sock. They're so cute. I hate that they didn't work. That's so fun.
And I do love that I did that.
Yes.
I laughed at myself as I was doing it. I was
Mm.
like, you are. And then another one that's funny to me, speaking of you being at a concert and like blurting out, you have to take the confetti. I was at a concert, a show for a local band that is like very prominent in Portland, Oregon, and it's like a very queer centered band that had been around. like our whole coming up, like in Portland, and they did a reunion show. And so it was very fun. There were people there that I hadn't seen in 15 years. Like it
Yeah.
was just like the best, most fun reunion at the very right time. The concert was over. We're standing outside the venue. It's raining. It's been raining for days. There's a nasty sticker from, but it has the back on it still. I'll show you. And
Oh my.
that, that came from some sort of food item that someone dropped.
Uh-huh.
And several people that I was with were like, we all saw it at the same time. And they're like, you're going to pick that up, aren't you? You're going to
Yes,
take that. And I was like, yes, I
of
am. And
course.
it was muddy, but I cleaned it off.
Oh
And
my God.
it's like you'll see why I did it when I finally get to the page because it it's vinyl. So I was able to clean it off, but I was like, wow, my reputation precedes me. Like these people everyone knows that
And
I'm.
I love that.
Okay, I found, so it's this sticker here for soft pretzels.
Oh my God. My friend makes that.
That sticker?
Yes.
The pretzel?
Yes.
What?
Silver Spider. Does it say it on there at all? Silver Spider?
No.
Okay, share. It's I'll send you
Are
her
you
her
kidding
profile.
me?
It's a perfect sticker. And
I
she's a good, yeah. And of course you had to pick that up.
I thought it was from food packaging or something. Like
No.
literally from, it's just for the love of soft pretzels.
Yes. She has ones that say
Exciting.
like blue cheese, hot wings, like Silver Spider Print Shop is it.
Holy moly, I am blown away. That is amazing.
I love when that happens.
Amazing.
I want to hear also about like physically your journaling practice. Are you
Mhm.
sitting at a table? Are you sitting in here journaling? Or are you in your basement studio?
Never in my basement studio because that is where all my journals alter shop stuff is, and it's kind of,
Oh, sure.
it's not.
Sure.
Um, I there you can't see over here. There is, or this way. There's
Hmm.
a different desk. This is like my work, like I'm typing desk, and then I have a different desk where I do
Oh,
creative stuff.
so jealous.
Yeah, I am lucky that I have a whole office. I've never had this until we moved into this house, and it was like a whole lifetime to get here, and I'm very happy.
Yeah.
Very lucky. And still also though, I will cart my stuff around the house like I'm going on a
100%.
freaking field trip.
Yes.
I'll be like, well, I got just in case I need it, even though it's a room away. I'm like, let me just gather this and bring it to the couch.
Yeah. Here's my journaling cart right behind you.
Yeah, yeah.
Filled to the brim. I don't need all that stuff, but I'll take it 6 steps over to the couch.
Well, you don't want your creativity hampered by not seeing the thing in front of you.
Exactly. But I got to get over that. Like, because traveling, I told you before we started, I'm taking a pretty big vacation in May. I would like
Uh,
to take my stuff with me, but I'm like, what do I take? I don't know what it is.
we went to London. I mentioned it already, but we went to on our honeymoon. It was in 2023. And I brought some stuff, and it was like the decision. I felt like it was just like this monumental,
Yes.
like huge deal to decide what to bring.
Yes. I saw a meme yesterday. I sent it to my friend. It says, me regularly uses the same 3 things at home. Me packing for
Oh,
vacation. I wonder if I'll need 4 French horns or 5. That's me with my journaling
right.
supplies.
That's right.
Because I'm like, oh, I gotta have it. Like,
Yeah.
what if?
Yeah. I got through it and you can too.
Yeah.
And I had the goal on that trip to journal. I had a travel journal like specific for that trip.
Yep.
And I started it and I was like, I'm going to journal every night at the end of every night. And of course that didn't happen. Like,
Right. But did
you
you
know,
journal most nights?
I journaled about half of the nights.
Okay. Still
Uh,
pretty good.
and I'm not ashamed to say that travel journal from 2023 is still not finished. It's still sitting in a stack and someday I'll get to it.
Yeah, I bought last year or the year before this gorgeous like traveler's notebook cover that my friends do. They run a leather company called Glad and Young.
Mm,
And I bought it. My initials are on the front. I got one for Elaine's sister who was taking a solo trip to Iceland. And I was like, well, she can't have one without me having one, of course.
sure.
Neither one of us has used it. But I really struggle with like, I want to keep a traveler's journal, but I also want it to be in my Hobonichi. So
Right.
where's the in between here?
I mean, these are the decisions that I will sometimes I think that the hobby is just as much about the logistics than the doing it of itself. Because I mean, the amount of time I spend like looking at people's YouTubes about what they packed, and I'm just like, wow,
I know.
I love
Well,
it.
what did you pack for honeymoon?
I packed, okay, I had a Delphonics pouch, and
Uh-huh.
I packed like too many pens that but still I would do the same again. And I
Mhm.
packed, glue, scissors, a few acrylic stamps, the kind that like cling,
Mhm.
that are flat and don't take up a lot of
Mhm.
space, and a small ink pad thing, and a selection of stickers. But mostly I wanted it to be ephemera and some washi tape. And it all just like fit into a pouch about this big. And then I brought a traveler's notebook style, like traveler's
Mhm.
book that also had some stickers in it. And the thing about me and traveling with my journals, which I do all the time whenever I go on I think I just froze, but whenever I go on a work trip, or any trip, I'll bring supplies. And I cannot and will not refuse to let my journal get separated from my person.
Yeah.
Like I'm not checking it. I'm not,
No, no,
can't
no,
do
no,
it.
no,
It's
no,
like a
no.
child. I can't do it. I'm not going to
We're
check my child down the.
mm-mm.
So it has to be something that's not so heavy that it would make my walking through the airport suck.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm always balancing.
I don't have a Delphonics pouch, but I will order one by the time the month is over.
You don't
Hand to
need
God. Of
you don't
course
need
not.
it, but you will love it. It's so cute. It has all these little pockets.
Of course. Of course. I see people with them all the time. And do I leave the house with my journal ever? No. But will I justify it this time around? Absolutely. And I'm
Wait.
going to be in the shops over there buying stuff. Like, I may as well wait till I get over there to buy it. But
Oh, go. Okay, okay. Go when you're there in London. Go. Maybe you already know this, so
no,
forgive me if you do.
I
But
don't.
Present and Correct,
Say
Present
it
and
again.
Correct, Present and Correct is
Okay.
a very, very cool stationery store. Highly recommend. Uh, there's another one that I can't remember the name of right now. But just there's so much good ephemera on a trip.
Mhm.
Like there's
I'm
so
so
much.
excited.
There's so much. It's so fun. I mean, you're gonna have a great time. London is a great city. It's also a great time to go somewhere else.
I know, right? I know. I think it's a little hokey to be like, I might not come back, but
I
I might not
mean,
come back.
the vibe when we came back, and it wasn't even right now times. When we came back, reintegration was a little challenging because I was
Oh, I
like,
bet.
it's different. It's just a different vibe. But
What I think it's hard to ask, like, what's your least favorite page? But I would say, like, when you do zoom out a little bit and you have pages where you're like, ugh, that wasn't exactly successful, what elements make it not successful to you?
that's such a good question. Actually, I love that question. Um, I think on a purely aesthetic for pure aesthetics, I don't like it when I choose colors together that I wish I hadn't chosen together. Like just
Mm-hmm.
color combo doesn't work. So there's that. Also a lot of times it's that I don't like the way that my printing or penmanship or writing ended up looking. Like if
Hmm.
I especially if I made like a big title or something and it
Yeah.
and it just wasn't thought out. Um, and some of it is honestly hard to put into words. Some of it is
Yeah.
just like, I look at it and I'm not like, that's me on the page. I'm like, I don't know who did this.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a feeling of like, who made that page? Was it me?
Yeah. The choices that I make sometimes, I'm like, how did I even get there?
Yeah. It like, and some of it's just like, that's just part of it. It's like experimenting, but sometimes, yeah, it's like the colors don't work. I don't like the way my writing looks. And sometimes I can tell when I made a page just to fill it and it's kind of
Mm.
meaningless, and that's okay, but they're not my favorite.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I do a lot less writing, I think, than you do, which I need to find like a happy medium because I do want to. I used to write a lot in
Mhm.
my like 2023, 2024, and I find that I'm not doing that as much, and I don't like that. So I need to find a happy medium there. But um, yeah, I don't know. So I can't really put it into words either. It is a bit of a feeling. This is why I keep asking people, is because I want them to answer the questions for me so I can have the verbiage. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's just
yeah.
vibes.
It's
Um,
just vibes.
Another question that nobody likes to answer and that I can't stop asking is what would you consider your style to be? I know.
Um,
One day someone is going to be prepared for this question and blow our socks off, and maybe today it's you.
I did think about it because I've been watching. I'm loving what's
Thank
happening.
you.
I love it. Love it. Okay. I would say that if I'm okay, yeah, if I'm being generous, my style is it is kind of a non-answer. But if I'm being generous, my style is eclectic. It's like maximalist. It's like anything goes. But if I'm being more real, I think my style is a little chaotic.
Mm.
And I'm okay with that. And I also think that I it's a little like little scrapbooky sometimes,
Mm.
like scrapbooky, um, in that I'm like, literally using supplies that I used for scrapbooking 15
Sure.
years ago.
Well, I have written down like, is there anything that you have carried over from your scrapbooking days? Is it the stickers? Is it the writing? Like, what would you say?
I think it's the stickers for sure. I think honestly, some of what probably the biggest carryover is just a sense of layout, like
Mm.
just like the design aspect of like laying something out, like what's the focal point,
Yeah.
how am I framing something. Um, so some of that is like, I guess maybe like a design practice skill, like practice with design, I'd say
Yeah. Yeah.
is carryover. And I never in my scrapbooking, I was never like, because I was like the weirdo in that space. I was never like here's the photo. I mean, I don't have kids, so there's that. Like, but it was never like here's like a bunny sticker next to the thing we did at Easter. Like,
Exactly.
I never did that, and I'm probably not going to do that. Age is weird though, so who knows what I'm doing in 20 years.
I mean, again, I am now using sticker books that say "You go, girl," so it's like
Yeah,
never say never.
you never know where this is going to take you.
Yep.
And then I was like kind of pushing the bounds of like what I thought I was anyway, what scrapbooking was. But there also just wasn't, it was like now we have junk journaling, which is a whole other thing we could talk about
Oh,
for
please.
hours.
I
Uh,
know.
it's so interesting to watch the trends. I love it. I love,
I
and
love
I'm
it
also
too. I love it and I want everybody to do it, but I also I want us to start thinking about like purchasing stuff for junk journaling is crazy.
like it really is. It really because you're actually 'cause speaking of scrapbooks, I'm like you're actually scrapbooking.
Right. 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 I need you to put that on a t-shirt or something because you've nailed it. But yeah, I don't know. I want the girlies to keep doing it and I want them to have fun. But I also want them to be able to look back at it later and be like, this was the point of this. I did this for me. And I
Yeah.
don't think all of them are really doing that.
No, I think it's like there's a part of it. I mean, some are, and it's their access point, and we love it. And for some people, I think it's just an entry point into a consumerist, like a trend to buy things,
100%. Yeah.
which is fine. I mean, it's not like I don't do that with things
Sure.
in life. And though it is just kind of funny to watch, and I do love it ultimately. But I don't even know why I got on that. What were we talking
Oh, I don't, who knows? I'm like, clear the schedule. We're just gonna talk for the rest of the day. Um,
about? We could
yeah, I don't know why we got there, but okay.
scrapbooking and yeah, I
I
love
have
it.
I have a journal prompt question. Do you ever use journaling prompts, by the
I
way?
do. I do.
And do you write those or do you find them somewhere?
Um, Sometimes I find them sometimes, like I'll find them on Pinterest or Substack or um, sometimes on people's Instagram. I do write journal prompts for people with in my Substack posts. Often I have a section called tools for your practice, and I'll do like an affirmation you could write in your journal, an inspiration, like go look at something and make a page about, or like gather this and make pages with it, like
Yeah.
the actual act of doing it. And then I'll do some prompts, usually based on what I've written.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a
I
lot
like
of it is, sorry, what was that?
I like that. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you. A lot of it is like how do you unhook from the things that are holding you back?
Yes.
Um, but it really varies on, and also because I'm also trying to get people, part of my work honestly is to encourage as many people as possible to be engaged with caring
Mhm.
about each
Yeah.
other. So there's a lot of prompts about that. Like how can I show up in my community today in a way I'd be proud of? Like what can I do for my neighbor? Who on my
Yeah.
street needs help? Kind of thing.
That's
So there's
beautiful. I I've been thinking about prompts a lot lately because I want to do more writing. I want to do more like larger thinking. And a lot of it is, or some of it is tied into what we were talking about earlier with like nostalgia on the page. And I see a lot of people being like, writing essays about things that we did in middle school and things like that. And I want to find an in between, but I don't always love the prompts that are like, question, what's your dream vacation? And I'm like, I don't really actually need a like a
No.
journaling page around that. And so
Mm.
when I do these challenges for myself and I do write prompts, they are more like I find they're more visual or they're more creative's not the right word, but it's like I think it's more based in art than it is in writing. Anyway, so
Yeah.
I want to try to find a happy medium. Okay.
Yeah.
So all that being said, I have these journaling prompt cards, and I want to ask you one. And sometimes they're
Okay.
stupid, so
Go with it. We're
I'm
gonna go
gonna
with it.
no, I'm gonna skip the stupid ones
Oh.
because I so because I'm
Fair.
like I don't care about the also I don't want to ask you what are three regrets in your life. Can you imagine if I was like, "Welcome to the podcast, list your traumas."
No.
But this one is less stupid. So, oh my God, I lost it. Mm. Oh my God, I just had it. Okay, here we go. What makes you feel happy and relaxed?
Mm.
Yeah, and I think that's tied into self-care, which I'm always in pursuit of. So how do you take care of yourself?
This is going to be so highly predictable. And it's also just the truth is I feel the most like at home with myself and the most like maybe nervous system like grounded when I'm with my Hobonichi. I'm
Mm,
not joking. Like
I hear
it
you.
is just like when I have desk time or I take it to the couch or whatever, there's just a thing because I feel like over time I've developed a relationship with my creative practice in that way that I sometimes feel stress and pressure because of all the things I already talked about. But at the heart of it, I feel like this is a comforting thing for me. And um especially when I can not bring Instagram into it because that actually harshes the vibe a lot. So
Mm,
when I'm journaling without having to go into my Instagram is when, and even honestly, just cutting and pasting paper and in my hands soothes me instantly. And it has since I was young. It's like there's nothing else like it for me. I mean, it really is just, it does something for me.
yeah, no, I get it. I that when you like come out of it, like you've been working, you've been cutting up paper, gluing stuff down, for 30 minutes or something, you come out and you're like, oh, I did that. I don't know. There's something so that feeling there's not many places where we get to feel like that. And so I completely agree.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that sort
Yeah.
of leads me into my last question, which is what is something that you have learned about yourself through journaling? You've been doing it for so long. I'm
Yeah.
interested to hear if you can even think like it's because it's such a like integral part of who you are, you know?
Is. Um, I have learned, let's see, I would say that I have a very active brain. And I know that like we all do. And like um am just very like almost couldn't even stop if I wanted to make like constantly connecting like something that I learned 5 years ago about this thing and how it relates to what happened right now and how all things are just interconnected in this way, which I'm not trying to like make myself sound I don't know whatever. Now I'm getting
No,
self-conscious about my answer,
no,
but
no, no.
what I have
Perfect.
learned about myself through my journaling practice is that I love my brain
Yeah.
and I'm grateful that I have it, even though it keeps me up at night.
Hmm.
Sometimes the overthinking and the ruminating and the stress, having a creative outlet that is like my brain getting tied to or like braided together with creativity
Oh,
is good for me. And that's what I've learned through journaling is that it's like a container almost. Like that Hobonichi is like a container. It's like a vessel. It's like holding me.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's what I've learned is that I need an outlet for my brain to keep being the brain that it is in a way that isn't too disruptive, because otherwise it will be very disruptive in there. And I think I also um have learned through journaling how to be more of a self-aware person,
Mm,
just how to be more aware of like how I impact other people, how I perceive other people, and the world around me. So yeah, self-awareness and the brain sort of
yeah.
art connection. Yeah.
I love that. I think that's very well said. I love thinking about my journal as an altar, and you are a big part of that. So thank you.
Your journals feel to me like that makes so much sense because the way that you one of I'll just if I can give you a compliment, if it's not
Like,
going to
oh
make
my
you.
God, please.
Some people don't. I feel like in terms especially of keeping a journal like an altar, the way that you distill moments of your life in very like snapshot tidbit like moment in time ways, it to
Mm,
me the way it shows up is it feels like honoring the tiniest moments of your
yeah,
life in this way that the whole together is like what a great life even in the
love that.
difficulty.
Yeah.
And to me that feels like those pages are little mini altars to, even if it's like a mini altar to can I break the third wall, the fourth wall,
Right.
can I
Fourth
break
wall. Yeah.
fourth wall, can I break the
Yep.
fourth wall, whatever. That's like a cultural moment in time that
Yes.
was funny and meaningful, and that is an altar to the that moment. Why not?
Yeah, and so many of those little moments are tied to an emotion that I don't always really register that in the moment, but a guest that I spoke to over the weekend said something really similar, which is I love hearing um the same thing. Like I just love like the consistency, like that now that you have also told me that it's like so meaningful to me. But the moment of can I break the fourth wall on this reality television show, I got full body chills. I looked up from my journal. I'm smiling hugely. So I know when I go to put that in my planner that that is like fully linked to an emotion. And the last guest was like, yeah, what you had a page once just full of like snowmen that you had painted or whatever. That was like around Christmas time. And I just did, 50 snowmen on the page. And that is tied to feeling like so proud of myself and the accomplishment. And I don't always in the moment realize that it is necessarily tied to a feeling, but that's what it is. So anyway, you really helped me understand that just now. So thank you.
I love that. Yeah, I love it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This chat has been I made you do some work, so sorry about that. But it was so, I don't know, I say this too much, but I leave these conversations feeling so inspired, but for so many different reasons. And like you really inspire me to kind of look outward as much as I'm looking inward and pay a little bit more attention to what's around in this world. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. I love that we can all sort of inform each other. Like just like collectively we're doing these really amazing creative things that we can inspire each other and build community around it. And I just really feel like there's so many things in this world that want to make us feel small and like we don't really matter or we're not good enough or um all of those things. There's so many of those forces actively happening, pushing against us. And I feel like it's kind of an act of like, no, I'm sorry. This is my who I am, and this is my life, and it is worth remembering, and it is worth romanticizing. And I think that's a common theme in what I'm hearing from the people you talk to. And I love that.
Thank you
I,
so much.
I love what you're doing here. It's so
Oh,
good.
I love what you're doing.